Yo everyone, welcome to Amps, Pedals and Pickups. It's your boy Nathan, and today is all about amp capturing tech. We're going to take a look at this ENGL Fireball 60 and see how well it holds up in ToneX, NAM, which is Neural Amp Modeler, Tonocracy, as well as the newest kit on the block, STL ToneHub traces. Now, to do as fair a comparison as possible, I've got some blind audio examples of the full mix, blind audio examples of the guitars in isolation. I've also done some null tests from the real amp to each capture style so we can see how well they null. And lastly, I've got some info comparing price, training times, a few other specs, because sometimes the audio alone doesn't tell the whole story. Alright, so let's first check out this blind mix and see if you can pick out the real deal analog amp from the digital counterparts. Alright, let's hear the same thing, but the guitars in isolation. Let's just hear things switching back and forth. Alright, one last thing we're going to do before the reveal. We're going to loop a small section so you can hear the same riff being played across all the different captures. Alright, reveal time. So the one thing you probably noticed was that E is massively different to the rest, but the rest are pretty sort of close to each other. E is ToneX, and I'll talk about the results of ToneX a little bit at the end of the video and why it's a little bit weird, but let's take a look at the rest of them. So C is the real amp. D is the NAM capture. B is Tonocracy. And A is STL ToneHub. So Theo, what do you think about those results? You know, I'm a little bit biased here because I've been listening to this stuff for a while. E, we're definitely going to talk about that later. We'll talk about ToneX. But to me, the real amp just jumps out a little bit more. There's a little bit low end, a little bit more compression going on. But ToneHub, Tonocracy, and NAM, just at a glance, just hearing things like this sound extremely close to each other. All very, very extremely high quality, I would almost say. All right, let's check out how things are going to sound in the null test. I've got the real amp up top here. I've lined all these up to the exact right point so that they null as best as they can. Let's check out NAM and see how well this NAM capture nulls to the original source. And we'll check out Tonocracy. STL ToneHub. And then ToneX. If I just play back the ToneHub tone in isolation, this is what it sounds like. So that's the sort of gain that we're expecting. Listen to the ToneX one in isolation. That's an extreme difference, and for it to null even that well actually surprised me. So because I'm a nerd, I love putting this stuff together. I built a table with a whole bunch of different features, just documented some training times, feature lists, all that kind of stuff. We'll go through it now. Now for ToneX, I'm going to have a little spiel about that at the end of the video, so make sure you stay through to the end. Oh yeah, if you like what you see here, don't forget to smash that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But let's go through each of the different topics real quickly. So capture accuracy, this is just how good the capture came out. I really thought it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4 in some kind of order, but honestly, out of the box NAM, ToneHub and Tonocracy, I really wouldn't sweat the difference. If you like Tonocracy over NAM for some reason, doesn't matter. If you like ToneHub over NAM, NAM over any of them, I don't think it matters. The quality is just absolutely splitting hairs. NAM gets a little bit of an edge because you can totally tweak the parameters, and I've got that under special features a little bit later. But out of the box stuff, it's so good. Like, you really cannot complain about the quality of any of these. ToneX, I probably should have given it a B instead of an NA, but like I said, we'll talk about ToneX at the end of the video. So profile tone time, this is definitely something to consider, the ToneX tone time. So this is when the software runs the tone through your rig. 1 minute 35 for Tonocracy. So Tonocracy is like a clear winner. So much faster to do things through Tonocracy. ToneX is the longest. So the capture quality is sort of like the advanced settings, that kind of thing. I'm running an AMD, I think 3900X CPU here with a 3090 GPU, so beefy GPU. I always do my captures at 400 epochs standard, which is kind of like the best NAM capture. For ToneHub Advanced, Tonocracy, there's no options. ToneX, always do Advanced. So the capture time, this is local on my machine. With cab modeling on, it's about 22 minutes. With cab modeling off, it's more like 18 minutes. ToneHub, super quick on my machine. I've heard it takes like 30 minutes, 20, 30, 40 minutes on different machines, but here I can only quote what I've got here, 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Absolutely blitzing. Tonocracy, now this one varies because the processing is happening in the cloud and sort of differs all the time. ToneX, time this a few times on my rig here, advanced 27 minutes. Training in background, this is kind of like, does it choke up the app? For me, when I do NAM, I've got a command prompt going with the NAM code, so that doesn't choke up my DAW, doesn't choke up my NAM session or anything. Yes, it completely utilizes my system, but it's training in the background. It's not choking up my DAW or my computer, so I would class that as training in the background. ToneHub, it will just take up that instance of ToneHub. You can't really do anything while it's doing the training. Tonocracy, it trains in the cloud, so you can just keep doing whatever you want and come back to it. It'll let you know when it's done. ToneX, it chokes up the app. Is batch training available? This is a big one, especially if you're doing a whole bunch of captures. So in NAM, if you've run a whole bunch of different profile tones through your gear, let's say you've got 10 profile tones ready to go, you can just batch train those in NAM. They'll just run back to back. ToneHub doesn't have a batch option. Tonocracy does, because it just keeps doing things in the cloud, and ToneX does not have a batch training option. A guided process, this is like a walkthrough thing, so you know, it checks your levels, just make sure that all your gear's in the right place. So NAM and ToneHub don't have a guided process, but Tonocracy and ToneX do have that sort of guided walkthrough. Does NAM have a pedal? Yes, there's the dime head pedal. I believe there's a few more to come. STL ToneHub does not have a pedal. Tonocracy does not have a pedal. I said no, not yet, because apparently there is a pedal coming, but we've heard nothing about it for ages, so I just said TBA. ToneX obviously has the big ToneX pedal at 499, and ToneX One slimmer pedal at 179 now. iOS apps speaks for itself. Capture sharing, yeah, you can just send each other NAM files in email. You can get it from ToneHunt. Open source, people can just have repos of NAM files. It's completely open source, so that's a really cool thing about it. And then ToneHub, Tonocracy, and ToneX, pretty much all within those apps, they have their own tone sharing ecosystem thing going on. So special features and comments, sort of like a little bit of a summary of everything. So with NAM, having customizable training parameters and being open source and tweakable, very big pro for the like longevity of NAM. I like NAM. I'm the sort of guy, I'm an IT guy, I'm the sort of guy that likes NAM. I like tweaking things, but I totally respect that some studio people and people sort of new to the game, it's not as approachable, and like I said, it lacks support and like guided trainers for beginnings. If you ever have questions about NAM, definitely leave it in the video, comment, join my Discord. People can help you out, but I totally get that some people on their own look at NAM and just go, it's too hard. It's like, you know, not traditional software, not supported. So that, you know, it just has to be said with that kind of thing. STL ToneHub, it has the tracer tone stack. So it's similar to like Kemper's liquid profiling. So if you profile your Marshall, you can tell STL ToneHub where your tone stack is at, and it should match things a little bit closer. That's unique to STL ToneHub. No one else is doing that kind of thing. And then on my rig, 8-minute training time, super happy. If I have to punch out like 8 different captures for that, that time massively adds up, so that's cool. It doesn't have batch training, that would definitely help. I was going to knock it initially, I was going to put a negative there for the price, but I mean, do we live in a day and age where a company is charging for software? I can't really knock someone on that. I guess you could say the prices are a little bit expensive, but you know, if we had this tech 2 years ago, would you really be complaining about these prices? It's unique, it's individual. I just couldn't have the heart to say, you know, a negative is it costs money. It's just a bit slack to say that. I did literally just get an email saying they've got 50% off sales if you want to buy the stuff outright. I think most people will get this stuff on a subscription. Whether you think ToneHub is good value in general for you is totally up to the individual. Some people think it's, you know, way overpriced or useless. Some people love the proposition, up to you. But yeah, that's pretty much my takeaway with ToneHub. So Tonocracy, it's free, it's third party. It definitely has the best calibration for reamps, has a whole sort of section there for getting your setup going. I used to use it quite a lot now. Now I just use the multimeter. I mean, you still need a multimeter with it, but it's very noob friendly. It has a very good flow for capturing. You just, like I said, it has the quickest, I think, a minute 38, what was it? Minute 35 training time. Just run it through your gear, next, run it through your gear, next, run it through your gear. The captures are happening in the cloud. I think that side of things, the capturing side of things, Tonocracy massively nailed that. Now, the negatives for Tonocracy is you must be online for the capturing process because it does that cloud capturing. It has to upload things and then eventually download the training file. I guess another knock, which I really didn't want to put in there either, is like, how long are these guys going to be around for? You know, do you really want to spend all your time on this ecosystem and then they just announce that it's going to be abandonware, then you can't use it anymore? Once again, a little bit slack of a thing to put in there, so I didn't put it in there, but it is a bit of a concern knocking in the back of my mind. But yeah, you know, as of right now, it's a very good option, and hey, it's free. Crazy stuff. So ToneX, you know, classic IK. For every step forward, there's like, you know, 0.9 steps backwards. They have really good pedal integration. They have their whole ToneX ecosystem thing going on. Big focus on third-party packs. If you want to buy some third-party ToneX models, you have no shortage of vendors out there. There's heaps of people selling this stuff. But the negatives there are high gain capture issues, the longest capturing time and training time, and general clunkiness of the software. I keep seeing people complaining about the ToneX One. It's a little bit clunky in the hardware side of things. But you know, some people don't care. They just want the pedal, so they're willing to deal with that stuff. Other people, you know, it's a deal breaker and they just hate that sort of thing. So it's up to the individual. That's why I just wanted to list everything here and just let you know what you're in for when you go down the rabbit hole of these ecosystems. And then yeah, we look at the price of everything. Obviously NAM is free, it's open source. Then we've got all the different prices there for ToneHub, the different subscription prices. And then I said they got 50% off sales. They do annual subscriptions, cheaper a couple times a year. Tonocracy, completely free, third party. It did cost, I think, $149 at one point in time, then they made it free. You got nothing to lose by downloading it. Definitely worth checking out. And then ToneX, they also run deals all the time. Then I've got all the different prices there. And if you wanted to get a pedal, you get a lot of the software stuff with it. So it's actually $179 for a pedal, and it comes with ToneX. You know, if you haven't bought ToneX yet and you get a pedal, it's a crazy deal. I can see why so many people flock to it. All right, let's talk about the ToneX results. Now, these results, they're nothing new to me. They're exactly what I expected. When it comes to capturing this level of gain in ToneX, I've been saying this since the beginning, it's like ToneX has some sort of invisible gain or distortion limit. And when you try to push things past that point, it starts to get weaker. And you can even see this in my results. I'll leave a link back to where it was, because the boosted capture is worse than the unboosted one. It's almost like it's way over the limit and it just can't handle things. I hear this sort of phenomena in 99% of ToneX capture packs out there. There seems to be very few exceptions to this rule. I don't know why it's the case. I can't even tell you how much time I've spent trying different combos of capturing, trying to balance out things with ToneX. It's just a mystery to me. I don't know why this is the case, but it just is. It is for other people. I don't know what to tell you. But to me, it's always been a massive limitation that I can't, you know, boost the shit out of this amp and capture it and get the results that I've been getting, that I'm seeing now in NAM, Tonocracy, and ToneHub. So I'm going to talk to IK support. I'm going to send them this video. You know, my setup here is clearly fine. I'm using all these other different capturing solutions fine. So I'll talk to them and see if they have any solutions, and maybe we'll do a follow-up video on that stuff. So there we go, the whole discussion about what's the best capturing platform. You know, it isn't so cut and dry because you can really approach things from different angles. For me personally, I've got a pretty streamlined NAM setup here, so I just dial in an amp, run it through the tone capturing process, save the WAV file out from there, and then I can train it on the spot, or I can train things later. Speaking of NAM, I've been putting some ideas together for how someone/a dev can bring out a NAM player to really tighten up and bolster the ecosystem, make the experience a lot better than it is now. I've also asked in the NAM Facebook group, and they've given me some even more good ideas, so make sure you hit subscribe to stay up to date for that video that I'm working on. And of course, if you have any ideas about NAM, how to make things better, let me know in the comments below. I'll take a look at those and see if they can make the list. So yeah, let me know what capture platform you're currently using, or if you have any questions about the options in this video, or if you're more interested in things like a Quad Cortex or a Kemper, I'd be interested, because I'm always toying with the idea of picking those up for comparison's sake as well. And as always, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. You're a legend, and I'll catch you on the next one.